Welcome to the Three Mouseketeers, the sibling podcast that understands your Disney addiction. I'm Jared.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Emily.
We're going to be having some Halloween fun this episode. We're going to talk about the Haunted Mansion. But first, let's get into some trivia. You guys ready to play?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. What was Bambi's first word? Was it bird, mama, butterfly, or flower?
I want to say bird.
I don't know. See, I lean towards mama. Maybe because at the beginning of the movie, he's with his mom.
You know how
I
long
feel
it's been since I've seen this movie?
Me too. It's too sad. I don't really watch
Exactly.
Bambi. But I feel like mama is the obvious choice, so maybe it's not right, but I kind of still want to go with mama.
So it's bird, mama, butterfly, and flower.
Yes.
See, my second choice would be flower. But I'm going with mama.
I'm going to say bird.
Okay. Of course, you guys are always picking two different answers.
Not always.
Pretty much always. Okay, so Amanda, you're picking bird. Emily, you're picking mama. Butterfly and flower is the remaining two that you did not pick, and those are not correct. Butterfly and flower are off the board, so it means that it's coming down to one of the two that you two picked. Emily, your logic was flawed because it's not mama. It is a bird.
Yay.
Okay.
I did it.
So this is the part where he's kind of stumbling through the forest and learning all of the names of the animals and the plants and stuff. Thumper introduces him to a flock of birds, and he starts to stumble over the word trying to say it.
Right. And that's what I remembered. So that's why I thought that was it. And I remember him stumbling over flower a little bit too. But I thought that was further. And butterfly, if I'm being honest. I think he stumbled over all three of those. But I feel like those were later. A little later. That bird was the first thing he saw, like landing on him or something.
They're all in the same scene, except for Mama. Mama's not in that scene. But bird is followed by butterfly, which is also followed by flower, all like one right after the other.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Okay, well, congratulations, Amanda. You got that one right. Emily, consolation prize. You get to give us a history fact.
Okay. I went with a Halloween-themed history fact since this is kind of a Halloween episode that we went with. And this fact is about the movie Hocus Pocus. Did y'all know that Hocus Pocus actually was not going to be called Hocus Pocus at all? It was going to be called Halloween House, which...
Interesting.
Does not have a good ring to it.
I know. Halloween House is just like such a basic name. I don't know why they would name it Halloween House. I mean, they didn't, thankfully. It's super basic. So I thought that was a really fun fact. And then in addition to that, it also wasn't supposed to be the kind of fun, more lighthearted comedy Halloween movie that we all know and love. It was supposed to be much darker, and it was going to be surrounding much younger children because, in Hocus Pocus, the witches went like the teenagers or like kind of the little bit more older children. But this was supposed to be about much younger children, which kind of made it a little more dark and creepy and not as like funny as it is now.
Interesting. So did it say why they changed it?
No, I know that the original concept for Hocus Pocus was actually written like much earlier than it was actually produced. So I think whenever it actually got into like the production and, like the more finalizing, not finalizing, but whenever they actually started to make it into a movie, they just changed the ideas and went with a more fun family movie.
Well, it is Disney, so
yeah.
it may have been one of those scripts that wasn't necessarily Disney, but somebody sold it, and then Disney kind of changed it. Possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I thought it was pretty interesting that it wasn't going to be called Hocus Pocus, because, I don't know, Hocus Pocus is just like such a household name now.
Yeah, and then you have the second one coming, so.
Exactly.
Which is going to be fun.
Which I'm so excited for.
Quick little fact about Hocus Pocus. Did you guys know that the fountain in Hocus Pocus is also used for the fountain in Friends?
I did not know that.
Me either. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you take a look at the Friends opening scene where they're all playing in the fountain, that same fountain is used in Hocus Pocus. But the thing is Hocus Pocus was made first.
And where is this fountain? Is it an actual fountain?
Well, it's an actual fountain, but it's in a backlot somewhere. I can't remember where exactly.
Okay, so it's not like an actual fountain in a city or anything.
No.
It's like made as a prop.
Yeah, it's a prop.
Or a scene or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. All right, I guess that means it's my turn.
That it
is.
Give
you a tip for the week. So I know my two siblings and I were discussing the other day staying in deluxe resorts so you could get those extra night hours. And I wasn't sure if everybody knew, but there are other hotels that you can stay at that get those extra night hours as well. They are not traditional Disney hotels. They aren't owned by Disney, but they are on Disney property. And that is the Swan, the Dolphin, and Shades of Green, which is the military resort.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Emily and I are both kind of in agreement that it's a little shysty to only give deluxe resorts the extra night hours. But, I mean, I kind of understand why they do it, but I think they could give other perks in other places rather than just that. Kind of mine and Emily's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but I feel like we're both kind of in agreement that it should be to all resort stayers.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, they were trying to make it more exclusive and give a reason for you to stay in a deluxe resort, because you are paying a lot more to stay in a deluxe resort than a moderate. And they're now, with the remodels and stuff of the moderates and with the Skyliner and things, there's not as much differentiating the value, moderate, and deluxe resorts. So I think this was a way to make it have something to stand out. And it's something that's free. I mean, not free, but it is, in essence, free to them. It's not like they're losing out on money by giving free Genie Plus or anything.
I just know that the extra magic night hours are one of my absolute favorite things, and I loved that even though I was staying at a value resort, I still got that, and now I won't get that anymore, but that's okay, Disney. I am used to things being taken away. However, back to Amanda's point about the Swan and Dolphin and Shades of Green, I've never stayed at any of those, but I've actually really want to stay at the Swan or the Dolphin because I have heard really good things about them and their restaurants. So,
yeah, and right now with the way things have changed at Disney, where there's no dining plan, they don't actually deliver the packages to the resorts like that you buy in the parks anymore for right now. So with those things gone, and they don't give free magic bands anymore. Magical Express is going away. With all of those being taken away, there's not as much of an incentive, I guess, to have to stay on Disney property when you can stay at Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah, but you're still, even though it's not a Disney hotel, you are still on the Disney property, so you do get that same feeling to me that you do like staying actually at one of the Disney hotels. So to me, that's like a good kind of compromise, because personally, even though they are taking things away, I don't want to be completely off property just because I like being in my little Disney bubble. Right. So I feel like you're still getting that feeling.
You are, and you're in the Boardwalk Beach Club area, so you're right out the International Gateway for Epcot, and you have access to the friendship boats there. You can walk to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and you can take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios from there too.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a good option.
I've actually stayed in Shades of Green, and I thought it was really nice. So that is a benefit for our military members and retirees, that they get to enjoy the benefits of staying deluxe too, even if they're staying in their Shades of Green hotel.
Yeah, I like Shades of Green. I just like that there's a hotel on property specifically for military. I think it's a really cool concept. So
me too.
Shades of Green is usually pretty booked up too, right?
In my experience, yes, it was kind of hard to get, but it's very nice, and that's why, because it has the feel of a deluxe resort, but not as expensive.
Yeah, and it's military, so
right.
Only certain people can get that hotel anyway. So
right. Yep.
Well, I mean that's something. I don't know if I can agree with what Disney did, but hey, I'm not CEO, so I can't.
You know what? They didn't ask you, so.
I know, exactly.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying.
And the thing is, staying at any Disney resort, you still get the extra morning hours. And for people with children and things like that, that is a benefit, because usually your children wake up earlier and go to bed earlier. So you still are getting a benefit. And now all the parks every day have extra morning hours. So you're not limited to just one park.
Here's an idea. Take the extra morning hours and give them to the deluxe, and then take all the night hours and give it to everybody.
I second that.
Yeah, but neither one of you have little children. So I think in the grand scheme of things, it works out better for more people to have the extra morning hours for everybody. Just my opinion.
I would rather the night hours, but that's just me. Okay, well, Emily, why don't you go ahead and get into the segment for the week?
All right. This week, our segment is Disney bounding. And like I said earlier, I'm kind of sticking with the Halloween theme, and also the theme of our episode, which is Haunted Mansion. And I went with Constance from the Haunted Mansion ride. So I guess if you're not like an avid Disney goer and like really love the rides at Disney and all that, you might not know who Constance is, but she is the bride that's in the Haunted Mansion, and she's also the widow in the Haunted Mansion. Like, she's technically two different characters. Like, she's the widow that's sitting on the gravestone it's her husband's gravestone because she killed her husband. But anyway, this is not history. This is Disney bounding. I just wanted to give a little backstory to who Constance is. And in the Haunted Mansion, she's seen holding an axe because she does kill her husband with an axe. It's very grim. But so for my Disney bounding, I wanted you, if you dress like Constance, to be dressed in white like a bride, just like she is. So I picked a midi length tulle white skirt, and it's really flowy and pretty and kind of is very bridal to me. And then for a shirt, I figured tucked into the skirt, I went with a solid white shirt, and then it has some puff sleeves, and they're actually floral. They have like a floral lacy print on the sleeves. You just kind of really can't tell in the picture so much. Also, I should mention that these pictures will be posted on our social media at T3M podcast. And it really helps to like look at the picture and follow along. So then for shoes, I picked some sneakers in case, you're wearing this to the park during Halloween or whenever, I want you to be comfortable. So some sparkly keds, and they're just sparkly white keds with like a white satin bow for the laces. To me, they're very bridal. And then for accessories, of course, you have to have an engagement ring, even if it's a fake engagement ring. You don't need to go out and buy
I was about to say,
diamond
this ring that you decided to post is like a $8,000 ring.
Well, it's actually funny because it's like a $39 ring.
That's funny.
It looks very expensive, but it's not. But yeah, you have to have the ring. Like, you're a bride, of course. And then I also really wanted to do a veil, but like if you're walking around the park, you don't want a long veil. So I went with a headband that has one of those little like bird cage veils with some little pearls on it. And I figured you could either wear it like facing forward kind of over your face, or you could like flip it around backwards if you don't want it on your face, but you still get the idea that it's a veil and that you're dressed like Constance. I also put some pearls because Constance is wearing pearls around her neck, like layered pearls. And for a purse, I went with a red rose purse because this was inspired by the Constance that's sitting on her husband's gravestone, like older widow Constance, because she's holding a red rose. So that's why I threw in the red rose there. And then my favorite part of the outfit are the axe earrings. They're just dangly axe earrings, and you have to have that. She killed her husband with an axe.
Yeah.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
So I really like this a lot.
Yeah, I really like this a lot. I really like the earrings. Those are cute.
Yeah, I do too. The only thing I may have changed is the headband. Instead of that, I may have done the mini ears, the bride mini ears, just because I think that would be cute.
Yeah, that would be really cute too. I went with a more like, not
traditional.
As like, yes.
Yeah.
But you know I love my ears. I would honestly probably do ears instead of the headband. But
yeah, I just think it would be really cute, especially if you're walking around Disney, to have the bride ears on. I think it'd be cute.
I completely agree.
So one of the things that I might change is the rose purse and do like a heart-shaped purse.
You could do that too.
You could, because she has the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking, like if I was going to do this, I would definitely do like some like bold makeup and like probably blue eyeshadow, because you know in the Haunted Mansion how she's blue, like the lighting on her is completely blue.
Should paint your face white. Come on now.
Well, okay.
The bluish white.
I don't know that I would go that far, but I definitely would do some like funky blue eyeshadow. I feel like that would go really well. So just an idea if anyone's going to actually Disney bound as Constance.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably find some YouTubes or TikToks or something that would actually be able to show you how to do a makeup like that.
Yeah, like a blue smoky eye, and yeah, it could be cool.
Need red lips.
That's what I was thinking too, and some red lips.
Yeah, I do like the pop of color. Like the one piece of color that you have is the purse.
Yeah, because she's very bridal, very white, but I wanted a little red and a little bit of that widow Constance as well.
Yeah. Well, good job, as always.
Thanks.
All right, well, that's going to bring us into the main topic. Again, we are doing Haunted Mansion because it's spooky season, and we love it. A few things about the attraction itself. There are several different rides throughout all of the parks. We have Disneyland, Disney World, Tokyo Disney, and there's actually some rides that are not necessarily called Haunted Mansion that are kind of somewhat designed around Haunted Mansion to some degree. And that would be
Phantom Manor in Paris.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to Haunted Mansion. The story is a little different, but everything else, it's still a haunted mansion. So it's still very similar in that aspect. The one that's a little different is Mystic Manor in Hong Kong. It's not the Haunted Mansion feel like the other ones are.
Right. So for the openings, we have Disneyland that officially opened on August 12th, but there was a soft open before that. I think it was like 7th, 8th, and 9th or something around that time frame. Mostly it was for cast members and people who worked for Disney. Walt Disney World was October 1st, 1971, and Tokyo Disney was April 15th, 1983.
And you may have wanted to mention that the Disneyland one opened in 1969 because you did not mention the year.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1969. Yes, Disneyland opened. 69.
And what I find really interesting about Disneyland is that it was in the works for a long time, like more than 10 years. So they had the facade built, but there was nothing inside. They were waiting on the perfect ride / walkthrough because they weren't sure exactly what they were going to do. And Walt Disney died while they were still working on the final concept of Haunted Mansion. So I saw that it really helped the Imagineers feel like they could continue on and do what Walt wanted when they finally came up with the storyline for the ride.
Yeah, I mean,
knew they could really do it.
It started like in the 50s where they were trying to decide what they wanted to do, what the Haunted Mansion was even going to be, because Walt knew that he wanted some kind of a haunted mansion or a haunted house type attraction. And there were so many designs, so many thoughts that went into what it is now, but it just really never found its footing until after Walt's death, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, like, for a while it was kind of gonna be a walkthrough museum like attraction, not a ride.
Like the Museum of the Weird or whatever it was.
Yes. And I think I've talked about this before, maybe on a history segment. But Walt had previewed the attraction on the Wonderful World of Color television show, and it was the Museum of Weird walkthrough type attraction where it featured like a melting candle man, like a bunch of oddities, basically.
Yeah. And I still want the candle man.
I know. I remember we talked about that. You were very into the candle man.
Yes. Like that in itself could be its own ride, I think.
Yeah. But I know that whenever this attraction did finally open the way that it was, with the technology of the ghosts and everything that they used in the Haunted Mansion that I still to this day find fascinating, but I can only imagine like how fascinating it was then. Like, people loved this ride and thought it was so like unlike anything they've ever seen, and like it was kind of, everyone was in amazement of like, how did they do that?
Yeah, just imagine what they would have thought in the 60s if they got what we have now.
Yeah.
They'd be absolutely mind blown. So since this ride was supposed to originally be a walkthrough, they didn't have any ride aspect until the Imagineers designed the Omni Movers. That was later renamed the Doom Buggies, was what we have now.
Right. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And basically they wanted to do that because they could control where people are going and
where they're looking.
Yeah, where they're looking, and then also just be able to get basically as many people in and out as quickly as possible.
Right. Because if you're doing a walkthrough, you may have stragglers who stand and look at one thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And it makes it harder to get a large number of people through if you have people who just stop and look a lot.
Yeah, that's very true. And now they literally don't stop that moving walkway unless there's like a disabled person that needs to get on or someone who's slower and needs it stopped. But It's constantly moving.
Exactly. Which is nice. Makes the line go so much faster.
I know. I just always feel bad for the cast member who stands there all day just walking in place.
Yes, get your steps in.
Walks all day.
Yes. Look, and the problem is they probably still don't walk as much as people who are actually park goers.
I know, that's actually true.
Hey, at least theirs is a little cushy because, that little walkway bounces a little bit. So that's a lot better.
Yeah, it has some give to it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Maybe it was designed that way for a purpose.
It may have been. Who knows?
All right, so a few updates that they've done to the rides. In 1994, Phantom Piano Player was put in the rundown piano in the attic scene for Disneyland, and this is similar to what was going on at Walt Disney World. All right, also the seasonal overlay for the Haunted Mansion, which we talked about earlier, which is The Nightmare Before Christmas, was added in October 2001 in Disneyland.
And they actually do that at Tokyo Disneyland, too.
Yeah, I didn't see when they put that there.
I don't know when they put it there. The only thing I know is the one time I went to Tokyo Disneyland, it was actually The Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion. So,
interesting.
There you go.
So in 2004, the seance room was updated to allow the crystal ball to appear to float.
Cool.
The original bride in Disneyland was replaced with Constance in 2006, and the next year in 2007 is when Walt Disney World updated to Constance. The one that I'm really interested in was the Hatbox Ghost was put back in after several years of being gone in 2015, and the Hatbox Ghost was actually taken out of the ride in Disneyland just because they didn't feel like it was good enough. Basically, they didn't think that it was convincing.
The reason why is because whenever Yale Gracie designed the Hatbox Ghost, it wasn't actually in the Haunted Mansion. It was off-site or in his studio. And the trick worked in his studio. So he had a head, and then it would flick and it would go into the hat box and back and forth. But whenever they actually put it into the Haunted Mansion, the lighting was different. So you could actually see both heads at the same time. And they couldn't get it to work correctly. So it was only in the actual Haunted Mansion there for like a day before they took it out. And an Imagineer named Ray Spencer was very young and had heard this story and always looked up to Imagineers. And he came up with how to actually correct it. And that's when they were able to put the Hatbox Ghost back into the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, and I know that the Hatbox Ghost is kind of like a fan favorite. People love him.
Right. I wish they'd put him into Disney World's also.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I thought that story was really cool.
I'm curious why they haven't put him in Walt Disney World.
I don't know.
Maybe just to give Disneyland just that little extra. Kind of like what they do with Deluxe resorts now, I guess.
Oh, Jared. Come on now.
All right, I only have one more update, and I'm sure there's other updates. I just didn't go through every single one of them. But in 2019, a hidden camera was added that takes pictures of the riders as the Doom Buggy passes the final portraits in the portrait gallery. And fun little thing is the flash is disguised as flickering lightning.
Is that also in Disneyland? I know it's at Walt Disney World, so I wasn't sure if it's at Disneyland too.
It didn't distinguish between the two, so I'm assuming it's in both, but take that with a grain of salt because I'm not exactly positive.
Okay. So something I found really interesting is that there were a lot of different iterations of the bride that you find in the attic. When they were first coming up with the concept of Haunted Mansion, they came up with Priscilla Gore, and she was a captain's wife, and he murdered her because she found out that he was actually Captain Bartholomew Gore, and he was a bloodthirsty pirate. And they kind of decided to go a different route whenever they actually opened the Haunted Mansion, but I thought that story was pretty cool. They also had
funny.
Emily DeClaire, and she was the fiance to Master Gracie, and it's kind of the same story. She found out that he was a bloodthirsty murderer, and she had a different reaction to it, though. She was waiting in the mansion for him to return, and so she still loved him, which I thought was funny. And then now we have Constance Hatchaway, and she's the Black Widow bride. She's the serial killer in this iteration.
Yeah.
And I found it really interesting that her fifth husband is George Hightower, and he may be connected to the SEA member Harrison Hightower, who is the owner of Hotel Hightower at Tokyo Disneyland, which is the equivalent of Tower of Terror at Walt Disney World.
That's interesting. I didn't put those two together.
So there may be some connection there. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. I mean, we really do need to start digging deeper into the Sea organization and really try to find these inner connections between all these attractions.
Yeah, because I know Mystic Manor, which is at Hong Kong Disneyland, is connected to the SEA, and that ride is based off of Haunted Mansion, even though they had to change the storyline to fit the culture there.
Right.
So if you haven't listened to our Mystic Manor episode, you should definitely go back and check that out.
Yeah, go back and check that out.
So we briefly mentioned that Paris has a different version of the Haunted Mansion. Their version is called Phantom Manor, and it's actually set in Frontierland there, and their bride is named Melanie Ravenswood, and she wanders the halls of Phantom Manor because her fiance got murdered by her phantom father. So it's a little different story. Yeah. So, but there is still a bride there, and it's still a haunted mansion.
Okay.
You know,
I gotta dig into that story a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Amanda, you got a lot of fun, like, backstories.
Yeah, I think the backstories are pretty cool.
I know, me too.
Yeah, and something else I found really interesting is that all of the Haunted Mansion iterations in the different parks are in different lands. In Disneyland, Haunted Mansion is located in New Orleans Square. In Walt Disney World, Haunted Mansion is located in Liberty Square. In Tokyo Disneyland, Haunted Mansion is located in Fantasyland. And in Paris, it's located in Frontierland.
That's kind of funny that they're all in different lands. Is that just because there's not not one single park has the same exact land?
Well, all of them have Fantasyland.
All of them have Fantasyland, but it wasn't.
It doesn't seem to fit in Fantasyland.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem to fit in Fantasyland. You're right, but also there's so little real estate in some of the parks. Like obviously Liberty Square, you have to have Haunted Mansion there because it's practically the only place that it could go.
I mean, they could have done it in Frontierland too. It just would have been a different.
But it doesn't seem frontier
mansion
to me.
It would just be a different mansion. just like they did in Paris. So it has a little different story, but it's still a haunted mansion, but with a different story.
I guess it just a mansion doesn't fit Frontier to me because Frontier is like Wild West. It's not luxury.
But I'm sure they still had people still had big houses.
In a Frontier, probably not.
I don't know. There were rich people. Especially if they were like gold prospectors.
No, I don't know. This is completely getting off topic, but
Definitely.
I do think it's funny that it's all in different parts of the park.
Me
too. Okay, something that I thought was really cool, and I've heard this before, but I wasn't sure if it was actually true. And I don't know if y'all know this, but you know the famous stretching room at the beginning of the ride? It's kind of like the pre-show. You go in and the room stretches and all of that. Well, in Disneyland, they needed more space for the ride because, you know, Disneyland's a way smaller park than Disney World. So the stretching room is an actual elevator. So as the room stretches, you're actually moving and going down, and the majority of the ride is below ground, like in the basement area. But in Disney World, the room does not actually move. It's not an actual elevator because Disney World is a lot bigger, so there's room above ground for the ride. So the room appears to be stretching, but really the walls are just like moving up. You're not actually moving at all. You just go in one door and out the other, but it's not an elevator.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And something else I found really interesting is that most of the ride isn't actually in the actual mansion anyway. It's in a different building totally.
Yeah, like behind it.
Yeah, you can't see it.
No, you can't. But if you actually, like, if you look at maps, like above, like an above view, I guess, you can see that it's not actually in the mansion.
I've got a question for y'all.
Okay.
A trivia question about the Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
This isn't
not
the trivia.
It's my trivia.
Okay.
So the organ in the ballroom of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland Park was used in what Disney film? A. Swiss Family Robinson. B. The Love Bug. C. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Or D. Babes in Toyland.
The organ?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. Well, you picked a bunch of old movies.
Well, yeah, because Disneyland is old.
Well, it's not going to be in WALL-E.
I know, but I mean, I haven't even seen half of these.
Give us the multiple choice one more time.
A. Swiss Family Robinson. B.
No.
The Love Bug.
No.
C. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
No.
Or D. Babes in Toyland.
No.
Oh, well, that doesn't work. It has to be one of them.
I'm going to say it's a trick question. None of them are correct.
It's not a trick question.
I'm going to say Babes in Toyland.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him on this one.
You are both incorrect. It is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
See, I told you, man.
Yeah, I just thought I had to throw that in there.
Where was it? Where did it show up?
I have no idea. It was in the movie.
It was just there.
It was just there.
It was at some point.
Yeah.
Let us know if you know where the organ is in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I might have to look it up after this episode is over. Okay, well, I guess speaking of movies, we can talk about the Haunted Mansion movies because there are a couple iterations of the movie. The first one is in 2003 with Eddie Murphy. This one is kind of a hit and miss on reviews. It has a 5.1 out of, yeah, it does have a cult following, but it has a 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So Not great reviews.
Yeah, but they're just not true Disney fans.
You know, I really like whenever they do the attraction movies, because they did it with Tower of Terror also, and that one has a cult following as well. They really need to add Tower of Terror to Disney Plus.
Yeah,
like, I don't know why it's not on there.
Totally off topic, but I was just thinking that the other day. I love that movie, and they make it really difficult to find it and watch it.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
That movie.
Oh, it's so good. I used to rent it from Blockbuster.
It has Kirsten Dunst in it.
It's so good.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen that.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the Haunted Mansion. So the 2003 version with Eddie Murphy, like we were saying, it's kind of a cult classic for Disney fans. People who aren't necessarily Disney fans probably don't necessarily like it so much. This year on Disney Plus, we got the Muppets Haunted Mansion movie. Have you guys watched that yet?
Not yet. I'm planning to before Halloween is over for sure.
It's very good. I watched it with my daughter this past weekend, and it's very cute. There's a lot of like really good jokes that they have in the movie. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because they're really good whenever they come along and they just catch you off guard. But just be prepared.
That's typical Muppets, though.
Yeah, that's typical Muppets, but it's very good if you specifically are a fan of the Haunted Mansion ride.
That makes me excited.
Yeah, it's very good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that. I had it on one night, but I was doing other stuff, so I didn't get to pay attention.
Yeah, you got to pay attention. If you didn't pay attention, did you really watch it?
No.
So you should go back and rewatch it. The one that I'm really excited about, though, is the one that's currently in pre-production. So this is going to be the Haunted Mansion, and this one's going to have a lot of really good people in it. The executive producer is Guillermo del Toro. If you don't know who that is, he's a very famous director, producer. He has done stuff like Pan's Labyrinth, Crimson Peak, stuff like that. So it's almost kind of like a Tim Burton-esque type feel, but he's obviously not Tim Burton. It's a little different. It's not as whimsical, but it still is whimsical to some degree. So I'm really excited about this movie. It's got Tiffany Haddish in it. It's got Lakeith Stanfield from Atlanta and other projects, but Atlanta's the one that I specifically know him from. Owen Wilson is going to be in this movie, and so is Danny DeVito.
I did see that Danny DeVito was going to be in it recently, in the last couple of days.
Yes.
I did not know Owen Wilson was going to be in it.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. I want to see where they go with it.
Yeah, I am extremely excited about this. I really like the Eddie Murphy version of this movie, even though a lot of people don't. It is really cheesy, but I think it's fun. And I feel like if you're a Disney fan, it's fun to have something that's based off of a ride instead of the other way around. So I'm really excited for like an updated new take on this.
Yeah.
And when is this supposed to come out?
So I'm assuming it's in pre-production right now. So my guess is late next year, maybe Halloween 2023. It takes a long time to make a movie. So once you shoot everything, you have to edit and all that. So it's going to take a while, but hopefully we get it.
I could see, though, that they would try to get it to come out around Halloween. So hopefully Halloween next year.
Probably. Well, that's why I'm thinking probably 2023. Because,
2023? That's still 2 years away.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking 2022 this whole time. I'm pushing for next year. They need to rush production.
I don't know that they can
out.
Get it done in a year, though. I don't think they can. So
all men on deck.
It's not even in production yet. It's in pre-production. So they're possibly still finishing the screenplay. They're finishing casting the whole thing. So it's gonna be a while. I'm hoping 2023. 2023, in my opinion, is probably the best case scenario.
Wow, that's disappointing.
I mean, I would rather them do it.
Yeah,
I would rather them do it correctly instead of rushing it. But
I'll love it either way. Just get it out.
Okay. I mean, if you really just want a movie just to have a movie, then I guess that's something that they can do. Like, I can probably go and make you a Haunted Mansion movie like real quick in the next couple months.
I mean, I'd prefer a Disney version because a Disney Rush version is going to be better than a Jared Rushed version, probably.
Probably, but you never know.
Well,
no, we know.
I can do little cardboard cutouts and do a little puppet show.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. I'm excited about this.
Yeah. There's no reason not to be excited about it. It's got a great cast already, an amazing producer.
Well, half the people I didn't
know
know who they were, so there's that.
Well, you should know who they are. Just know that they're very talented. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for the Haunted Mansion, unless you guys have any other surprise additions at the end of the main topic.
Nope. I mean, there's so much more you could talk about Haunted Mansion, but
there is so much more. One of the things that I did briefly want to mention, because I think it's a really cool fact, is that a lot of the tombstones that are in the queue for the Haunted Mansion have references to people who actually worked on the ride. So, like, Imagineers who actually worked on the ride, or, like, actors who were, like Madame Leota. There's, like, a tombstone for the actress who did Madame Leota and things like that. So little nods to cast members, which I think is really cool. And I love that Disney does things like that.
Did you know that the lady who was Madame Leota was actually an Imagineer?
Yeah.
And her daughter is an Imagineer. And when they had to redo Madame Leota, her daughter took her place in it, which is pretty cool.
I know. Isn't that cool? They thought that if there was going to be anyone who could do her justice, it would be her daughter, which
makes sense.
I think is awesome. Yeah.
So it's now a family tradition. I watched, if you haven't seen Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus, you should definitely go watch the Haunted Mansion version. It was really cool. And Madame Leota's daughter, I can't remember her name now, sorry, but she was saying that she used to bring her children on the Haunted Mansion, and when they'd get into the seance room, they'd go, "Oh, look, there's your grandma."
Yeah.
And all the people around her and the other Doom Buggies were like, "What is she telling her kids? This crazy lady."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
That's where I learned about Madame Leota's daughter taking her place as Madame Leota as well. I think that was a really good episode, and I definitely recommend it as well.
Yeah. Pretty much any of the behind-the-scenes stuff that Disney has put up on Disney Plus has been really good.
Yeah, they're my favorite things to watch on Disney Plus, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, well, I guess that's going to bring us into mousekeeping. Definitely go and subscribe and follow us on YouTube. You can find us at bit.ly/T3M YouTube. That's all lowercase, and that is bit.ly/T3M YouTube. We do have a TikTok. You can follow us at T3M Podcast, along with all of our other social media accounts. If you love the show and you want to help us grow, you can leave us a 5-star written review, and that'll help us with the algorithm and be able to help us find new listeners. And if you leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on an upcoming episode.
You should also make sure you tell your friends about us. I'd love to help plan your next magical getaway, whether you're looking for a Disney vacation, Universal vacation, all-inclusive resort, international destination, or a cruise. I'm here to help. Contact me when you're ready for your free, no-obligation quote. And don't forget, my services are complimentary. You can find me on Facebook at amanda.hollis, Capture the Magic Vacations, or send me an email at amanda.hollis at capturethemagicvacations.com. You can find my contact information in the show notes.
Join us for our next episode, releasing Thursday, the 4th of November. Be sure you're subscribed to the show so that you're updated when a new episode comes out every other Thursday.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. You can also be a part of the magic by following the show at T3M Podcast on all social media platforms. That's T3M Podcast. Leave us a 5-star written review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. If you have an announcement that you would like to have on the show or just want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at t3mpodcast@gmail.com.
Have a zippity-doo-dah day.
See you real soon.